Welcome to exercise 1. It's quite a long exercise, quite difficult. I found it. It's a puzzle by Reti 1929. We're gonna try to be as fast as possible to manage to shrink the whole exercise in 10 minutes. It took us over 10 minutes first times we tried. So let's imagine white is playing c6. Some of you might think of that option. Black is pushing. Now white has two options. He will take on g4 or he will move king to b6. If he goes king b6, black wins by pushing, and you'll see why, because he will convert to a check. And check from the black. And just for saving time, I'm gonna quickly explain what's gonna happen. White is gonna keep checking, the black is gonna keep checking the white king until he goes in front of his own pawn. Then white will, every time the white king will go in front of the pawn, the black king will get closer until he will reach c6 and deliver checkmate. So we're not going to demonstrate that just because we don't have the time. I apologize for that, guys. Now the other option for white, so white plays c6, black played g5, is to capture the pawn. And in this case, black is pushing, b7, h3 takes, h2, push, and black gets queen. And again, we're gonna keep checking the white king until he gets in front. The same, we're gonna gain move by move, or we can take the pawn with a check with a queen on c4 or c5, or a5 will be check, king gets in front, and then we can capture the pawn, or we can gain moves with the king, take the pawn, and then we gain moves and get close to the king, and then checkmate the white side, using every opportunity when the white king steps in front of the pawn, we use it to move our king. So that was the c6 move for white. Once again, guys, apologizing for the speed of demonstration. We literally struggle with time. Now let's imagine if black will push the pawn while we take. Once the black king captures on g5, the white king has to be on g3. That's his correspondence squares. Once white king is on g3 now, let's calculate. King f5, king h4, king e5, captures, king d5, king g4, king c5, king f3, king b5, king e2, king b4, king d2, king b3, and once white gets on c1, these are the key squares, c1 and c2, white gets a draw. Even if he gets in front, he won't be able to convert the pawn, and that will be draw, because he has to exit and then we get in front, and it's a draw. So let's set up again. Remember, the correspondence square are g3 and g5. If will be for the white king to be an f3, sadly he won't be able to get a draw, because king f5, king g3, king e5, king h4, king d5 captures. You can see the black king is one square ahead. c5, g4 takes, f3, b4, e2, b3, d2, and black got on b2, which is a key square for him. Now I think we could flank, but it's not gonna work, because black pawn goes on a3 and then he will convert. We know that g3 and g5 are corresponding squares. But what will be the corresponding square if black king is on f6? What will be the corresponding square for white? That would obviously be f4. Yeah? Now let's imagine. Let's imagine that we have this setup on the corresponding square and white is the one to move. If white will go to g3, black wins after e5, sorry. Now if white will move to e4, black is pushing, and after white is taking, because you don't want to give black the pass free pawn, that will be suicidal. You see how far is the white king from the corresponding square, and he's losing again. Pause. The correspondence between e5 and f7, it's a bit less obvious, but let's demonstrate. Now let's imagine white is the one to move. King d5, and black will step on f6. The winning move for white will be king to c6. And the reason why he's winning now is because if black is pushing g5, white will capture with check. So winning, a draw. And now it's enough for white to get a draw, because black will convert first, but then next move after, white is getting queen as well. Remember, white king will be on a7. I'll let you guys see through that variation. If black is to play, it will lead to the same situation after king d5. If black is stepping on f6, it's the same scenario. White goes to c6 and win again. The correspondence between e5 and f7, it's a bit less obvious. Now let's imagine we have the position. Now white is to move. If white is to move and he goes to d5, he's losing because of g5. Yep. Let's say he takes, then pawn will simply convert. Now if black is the one to move and he goes c7, now we win with d5, because if black would step in on f6 after c6 and he's pushing now g5, there's a small difference between king on f7 and pushing g5, in the previous situation where white can take and black can play g6 and win. Now in this position, white will take with check and black has to take with the king instead of pushing the pawn. And now king to b7, h4, we take, h3, we push the pawn, he pushes, we push, he converts. Remember, king is on a7, so he won't be a check, and then we get queen as well. And that will be a drawish endgame. Yeah. So that was the winning move. Now, if white king goes to f4, remember f4 is corresponding with f6, and black wins by moving the king to f6 and winning the correspondence. And you remember the two ways, g4 or e4, and how to win. Let's revise the corresponding squares. We got g3 with g5, f4 with f6, and we got e5 with f7. Now the winning move for white will be king to d5. And if black, using the neighbor corresponding squares, we can claim these two other corresponding squares, e4 and g7. Now, if black will step on f7, we take the corresponding square. If he will step on g, we take the following one. So, f7, e5, you remember what happens if you go here. Yeah, we go to d5, and now if black is trying to get the draw by repeating the moves, we simply just keep doing the same moves, and then we're happy with the draw. If black will step on f6, we go to c6, and then you remember, if he's trying to push, we have enough to make a draw. Remember, the winning move for white, if you want to recalculate or revise this position, is king to d5, because black can only step on f7 if he wants to, and then we get a corresponding square. Or if black steps on g, we take the e4 corresponding square, and every time black will try to play us and force a move, we're just repeating the moves. So if he goes, we go, he goes, we go. If he tries to go back, no problem, we go again, and then we repeat and then just make a draw. It was a difficult puzzle, might need a few practice. I might need to practice myself a couple of times, and spend some more time just to make sure I fully understand. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I hope it helps you solve all this puzzle, guys.